Welcome, everyone, to the NoDQ.com live recap of Clash in Paris, WWE's premium live event from Paris, France. Over 30,000 people in attendance for this show, and what an atmosphere. Just like Backlash in 2024, these fans were loud, they were energetic throughout the show. It was quite the event, that's for sure. Shout out to everybody watching this, whether it's live or on demand. I very much appreciate your viewership and support. Let's get to the recap. We opened up with Roman Reigns going one-on-one with Big Bronson Reed. A bit of a slow match. You had the crowd singing for Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, the entrance was spectacular. The match itself, it was an average PLE match. It was slow-paced. They were really soaking in the crowd reactions. Bronson Reed was definitely playing the heel and taunting the fans, flexing. He got the momentum for a while. Roman Reigns would make a comeback. He would do the punches. The crowd was counting in French. Reed largely dominated, but then he got a little bit too arrogant. He took the shoes that he stole from Roman Reigns a few weeks ago. He held them up in the ring. He grabbed them from Paul Heyman, and he was taunting. He tried to take off Reigns' shoes that he was wearing for the match. That was unsuccessful. Then Reed went for the tsunami, but Reigns avoided it. And then he delivered an avalanche Samoan drop and then pinned Reed with the spear. Like I said, average match. The real story here was the post-match. After it was over, Paul Heyman was checking in on Reed. Reigns stood up right behind Heyman. Heyman begged for his life. He was saying he acknowledged Reigns. He actually handed back the shoes. Reigns took the shoes, but then put Paul Heyman in the guillotine submission. Heyman was laid out, and then Reigns stood on the announce table, and he was signing the shoes. He threw the shoes into the crowd, but then Braun Breaker, out of nowhere, speared Roman Reigns through the announce desk. Reigns was hurting bad. Braun Breaker left. Reigns got to his feet, but then Breaker ran back, speared Reigns. We had the security out there, and then Bronson Reed came off the top rope with the tsunami. Reigns was in bad shape here. They tied him up. They were going to stretcher him out. He was in the stretcher. He was strapped to it. Then Reed came back and delivered another tsunami to Reigns. And yeah, they completely dominated him. Another spear from Braun Breaker. Reigns was left for dead. Shout out to Caleb Jacobs, who sent in a $1.16 super chat. Thank you for that, Caleb. I do appreciate it. The angle went maybe a little long. I feel like the angle was longer than the actual match. But for what it was a good angle. They're writing off Roman Reigns for the time being so he can do his role in the Street Fighter movie. He could come back by WrestlePalooza. However, wouldn't shock me if we don't see him again until we get close to the Survivor Series build-up. Definitely feels like we'll be seeing him coming for revenge on Braun Breaker. I don't know if John Cena is losing to Brock Lesnar or not, and I will get to that in just a few minutes when we talk about the John Cena versus Logan Paul match, because it is interesting where things are going with John Cena, and we'll talk about that in just a few moments. Solid start to the show. They did do the angle, which built up the main event, which I liked, because now we had Roman Reigns out of the picture. He could not help Jey Uso. And then backstage, Adam Pearce was furious. He yelled at Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed and told them they were banned from the building for the main event. And if they showed up, they would be suspended indefinitely without pay. Adam Pearce was very unhappy. We had the Wyatt Six going up against the Street Profits for the tag team titles. It was a solid match. It could have been on SmackDown, but it was good. It was a good undercard match for this show. Now, what was interesting here was that the Street Profits were teasing dissension. Are we finally going to have them split as a team? Dawkins insisted on starting the match for them, and they were even arguing at one point. B-Fab had to get them refocused. The Wyatts took control for a while. Then the Profits made their comeback. We had things breaking down. Eric Rowan, though, provided a distraction. Montez Ford did the flip over the corner onto Eric Rowan. But then Nikki Cross grabbed Ford's foot. Easy for me to say. He grabbed Ford's foot. And Uncle Howdy, with the referee distracted, took out Ford with the sister Abigail. And then the Wyatts got Ford back in the ring and finished off Ford, got the 1-2-3 victory. Exactly what I expected. And now the question is, will we actually get the Street Profits breakup, or is this just a setback for them until they ultimately win back the titles? That remains to be seen. The Profits were probably the most over they've been since the music change. Thank you, Paris, for that. Like I said, excellent crowd. Next up, we had Becky Lynch defending her women's Intercontinental Championship against Nikki Bella. Caitlin, my wife, will not be happy about this, but this was the weakest match of the show. They just did not have the chemistry in this match. And there was one point where Nikki went for a springboard kick out of the corner, and I think Becky was supposed to get hit by the move, and Becky was nowhere near her. And yeah, they were way off sync with this one. The crowd was also behind Becky, and Nikki is supposed to be the babyface, and they were cheering for Becky. So that was also an issue in this match. Other than a few little things here and there, I did think it was a decent match, but again, could have been on a Monday Night Raw. I don't think it was terrible. I wouldn't go that far, but it wasn't anything special, that's for sure. And there was one point where Nikki was driving Becky head first, alternating with the two announce desks, and that didn't look too good. Then she put on her submission move, the Fearless Lock, but Becky was able to get out of that. And then Nikki started doing Becky's moves. And when that happens, whether it's a heel or face doing it, when you do the other person's moves, you usually end up losing. And sure enough, Becky kicked out of the manhandle slam, and then Becky countered the disarm her, which is her move. She should know the counter to it. And then won with a backslide, got the 1-2-3 victory. Becky is still your champion. No surprise here. Shout out to Caleb Jacobs, who sent in a $2.14 super chat. Thank you for that. Caleb says, I really want John Cena to win the IC title. You really want me to talk about John Cena. You just want me to skip ahead to John. I don't really care if Cena wins the IC title at this point. Yeah, it would be him winning every single title, but I can live without that. Although if they did do Cena versus AJ Styles for the IC title, or even Dominic, I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't be totally against it. But I don't really think he needs to be going for that title. I think you want to really do the biggest matches possible for his remaining dates. Next up, we had Sheamus versus Rusev in the good old-fashioned Donnybrook match. I had high hopes for this one, and I think they absolutely delivered. Very hard-hitting match with a red-hot crowd that was into everything. We got the weapons. They had the bar set up, the Irish bar there at ringside. And Sheamus ended up being slammed through that bar. The bar was tipped over, and Sheamus was actually slammed through it. Rusev did the 10 beats on Sheamus, and then Sheamus did the 10 beats and also used the shillelagh to do the 10 beats. There was also these barrels, these whiskey barrels that were set up at ringside, and they fought on top of the barrels, and there were 2 tables set up. Sheamus gave Rusev the white noise through those tables off of the barrels. That was a great spot. I love how they use the props for the spots in the match, the bar and then the barrels and the tables. Great stuff here. Really fun match. And they were back in the ring. Sheamus hit the bro kick before Rusev could use the shillelagh. However, Rusev was able to kick out, and he hit the Mashka kick, and then he broke the shillelagh over the back of Sheamus, and then he used the piece of the shillelagh to apply the accolade, and he fell backwards with Sheamus holding on with the shillelagh, and Sheamus actually tapped out. Now, I don't know if this is true or not because I don't follow these stats closely, but according to Michael Cole, this was only the second time that Sheamus has ever tapped out. And apparently somebody verified this and said the only other time was to Lashley during the Thunderdome era. It was great. It was a fantastic match. It really elevated Rusev, and Rusev needed this win. You know, coming back, he benefited greatly from winning this match. Sheamus will be fine. Sheamus is Sheamus, but hats off to these guys. They had a killer match. Banger after banger, as Sheamus would say. Not everybody liked the match, but I loved it. I thought it was very entertaining, and I think it did a lot for Rusev. We had John Cena versus Logan Paul, which going in, I didn't really care about that match too much. Felt like filler to me. But here's the thing about Logan Paul. When he's out there, he delivers. Say what you will about the guy, but every time he's out there, he goes hard. The crowd was absolutely loving this match, which really elevated it as well. They were singing John Cena's song. They were saying the ring entrance along with the ring announcer. John Cena in his final European match. What I really loved about this match is that they did a lot of different moves that you typically don't see in John Cena matches. And they did moves from past opponents that John Cena went up against. They did the uppercut from Cesaro. Logan Paul did the uppercut. Then Logan Paul did a zigzag. And then John Cena did Baron Corbin's End of Days. And he also did the Styles Clash. I love this. I thought that was great to do those moves. And Cena even busted out the Angel's Wings from Christopher Daniels, which may have been due to their UPW connection. I don't know if that was the case or not, but he even busted out the Angel's Wings in this match. And Cena looked good. He did the Code Red. He did all sorts of stuff. They even did some submissions with the STFU. But then again, Logan Paul, he got the upper hand for a while. He did the buckshot lariat, and they even got a little shot in on Adam Page when he did the buckshot lariat. I think it was Wade Barrett. He said that the best version of that move that we've ever seen. And I think MJF even agreed on social media. So that was funny. And yeah, Logan did his frog splashes, which they call the Paul from Grace. Then he got a little bit too cocky. He started doing Cena's moves. He did the 5-knuckle shuffle, and then he went for the AA, but you can't do that move on the guy that knows the move better than anybody. Logan then came off the top rope. Cena caught him, hit the AA, hit a second AA, and got the 1-2-3 victory. Somehow they topped Rusev and Sheamus, and I didn't even know that that was possible. These guys over-delivered, in my opinion. To me, this was almost at the level of the Cody Rhodes match. I mean, 2 back-to-back great John Cena matches in a row. It's like once Cena dropped the heel gimmick, he's having these killer matches now. So yeah, really, really strong match from these guys. Logan Paul, credit where credit is due. And Caleb Jacobs sent in a $2 super chat, says, this match reminded me of Benoit back with Cena. Yeah, I mean, to Logan Paul's credit, he is at the level of some of these guys. Whether you want to admit it or not, he can go with the best of them. And yeah, it definitely reminded me of the John Cena U.S. title open challenges when Cena was in there with guys like Cesaro and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Just an absolutely incredible match. And going back to what Caleb mentioned earlier, is Cena going to beat Brock? Here's what's really interesting now. The announcers brought this up. John Cena has won 99 PLE matches. By beating Logan Paul, he now has 99 PLE wins, which I didn't know. But once I heard about that, I was like, okay, yeah, Cena's definitely winning now because he's only 1 match away from 100 wins. That is the last John Cena milestone, 100 PLE wins. Is he going to beat Brock Lesnar, or are they going to have him chase the 100th win now? So that's something really interesting to think about for this WrestlePalooza match. Now that he's going for 100, maybe he doesn't beat Brock, and they hold off on it until the final match, and that's when he gets 100. Maybe he doesn't hit 100. So it's very interesting that they brought that up now, and he's got the 99 wins with just 3 months left in his career and maybe 3 or 4, or maybe 5 matches left in his career. So thank you for the super chat, Caleb. I appreciate it. And after the match, Cena kissed his wife, celebrated with Jelly Roll. Another tremendous performance. I mean, John Cena is amazing. We had our final match of the evening, a 4-way match. Seth Rollins defending the world title against CM Punk, Jey Uso, and LA Knight. Yeah. Before the match, Rollins said he wasn't worried about being alone. He said that he's always 2 steps ahead, which in my mind is somebody else is interfering. Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed can't interfere, so somebody else is going to interfere. Apparently, Tony D'Angelo posted something on social media in Paris, and that got people thinking he was showing up. But I thought, well, he wouldn't just give that away. Plus, are people really going to care if Tony D'Angelo shows up? But let's talk about the match. It was very good, but I didn't think it was at the level of the previous 2 matches. Better than the first 2, but not as good as the Donnybrook and the Cena match. Still very entertaining. Punk took Jey out right away with a super kick right when the bell rang. Kind of similar to that Survivor Series 2009 triple threat, DX going up with John Cena in the triple threat. And Shawn Michaels immediately super kicked Triple H. Very similar to that, probably by design. But then later, the 3 of them, the 3 challengers, worked together, and they were going to put Rollins through the table. But then Jey was like, F you, Punk. He super kicked them back, and that was out of the equation. They did set up the table, and then later, Punk was knocked off the apron by LA Knight, and Punk went through the table. Well, kind of. It didn't fully break. Botchamania moment. And we also had them brawling in the crowd a little bit. They got back in the ring. Jay and LA Knight were doing the punches back and forth, the yeah and yeet, the strike exchanges. And then LA Knight put Rollins on the table, went up top and went for the elbow, but he was momentarily distracted. He went for the flying elbow, but Rollins moved. LA Knight crashed through the table, and he was basically out of the equation. Then Rollins got the upper hand, and he stomped Jey Uso. He stomped LA Knight, and he was going to finish off CM Punk. He took a chair. He got the chair, brought it in the ring, and he was wrapping it around Punk's neck. He was going to do the stomp with the chair assist, but it did not work out for him. He missed. Punk then hit a GTS, and then he got Rollins on his shoulders. He was going for a second GTS, but then a woman came in the ring, masked. She gave Punk a low blow, and then she unmasked as Rollins' wife, Becky Lynch. And then Rollins hit the stomp onto a chair, got the 1-2-3 victory. What I had said months ago looks like it's finally a reality. Becky Lynch being part of Rollins' heel faction. I said this right after WrestleMania. They should have put Becky in from the get-go. So it looks like she's officially in the group, although maybe not. Maybe they're just going to be in a tag match, because there's a lot of speculation now, the obvious tease of where this might be going. Are we finally getting the return of AJ Lee? Now, they're doing the post show right now, and I should mention that during the post show, Big E said that CM Punk has a wife, and they're outright teasing it during the post show, which very much seems like this is the obvious direction. I know somebody mentioned Roxanne Perez, but she's a heel. She's with the Judgment Day. Doesn't make any sense. The only person that makes sense is AJ Lee. Definitely feels like a tease for that tag match. Could they do it as soon as WrestlePalooza? That remains to be seen. But if they brought out AJ Lee, somehow got her to Paris and put her on Monday Night Raw, that place would come unglued. That would be an epic return in WWE history. We'll see what they do. The show ended with Rollins and Becky kissing and celebrating with the championship. So yeah, that's the big rumor now. Is AJ Lee coming back? This definitely seemed like a tease for that. Shout out to Building Nexus, who sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, could we see Jimmy Uso join his brother on Monday Night Raw? Jimmy needs a change of pace. The storyline with Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa, Jimmy's going nowhere. And Jay has had a nice run here, but I want to see the Usos get back together. I think there's still mileage with them as a tag team. Let them be tag team champions one more time. Hell, get Penta and Phoenix together, and let's have the Usos versus Penta and Phoenix. Like, there's some real possibilities with the Usos together as a team again. So yes, I think Jey Uso should be on Raw, and I think it's just a matter of time. Once WWE feels they've gotten as much out of Jey as a single star, get the Usos back together, because Jimmy is really struggling on his own right now. All in all, I thought this was an awesome show. AEW fans, cover your ears. I liked it more than Forbidden Door. So I'm going 8 out of 10 for this show. Not a complete home run. The Intercontinental title match was a little lackluster, and the show did run a bit long. I mean, it went almost 4 hours, which is a bit long, even in the afternoon. They did let the matches breathe, which was nice, but this is one of those times. I know people say they hate the 5-match shows, but if you cut out one match, I think you would have been close to a perfect show. Or if you did do 6 and you replaced the Becky match with AJ and Dominic, I don't know. Fell a little short of being a top tier pay-per-view, but it was still damn good. 8 out of 10. And if the opening didn't go for so long, really that first match and then the post-match beatdown, when that was over, that went almost an hour. That was like 45 plus minutes of that. We did not need that whole thing to go as long as it did. So not perfect, but still an awesome show for the most part. Paris was awesome. And I stand by what I said on social media. I'm all for WWE just doing more shows in Europe. Would those fans eventually get burned out? Maybe, but hey, it could balance. Perhaps if the US fans didn't get as many shows, they would become louder for events. I just feel like the US crowds suck these days, compared to Europe especially. They are doing some shows in January, and I'm all for that. I love the afternoon events, and I think they should do as many international shows as they can get away with. If they can draw the big crowds that are hot, then do as many of them as possible. Let's go here. Get to South America. Keep doing more Europe. Go to Japan. Let's do this. Like there's a lot of money to be made. They even said it themselves. The biggest gate in the history of that venue. They said they outdrew Taylor Swift, which is a hell of a feat if that's accurate. So yeah, let's do some more international shows. That's all I got for Clash in Paris. I definitely recommend checking it out. If you missed it, stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the news and fallout. Will AJ Lee return? Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for all the latest news and rumors. Say yes to NoDQ, and I will see you all next time.